Hi everyone, I'm Joyce Strong, host of the Totally Well Show. Before we begin, I want to give a big thank you to my mentor, coach, and sponsor of the Totally Well Show, David Meltzer. David is the host of the #1 entrepreneur podcast, The Playbook, a top 100 business coach, author of the #1 new release, Game Time Decision Making, and was named Sports Humanitarian of the Year by Variety. But he prefers to be known as the CEO who goes around helping people. Learn more about David Meltzer at www.dmeltzer.com and text him at 949-298-2905 to get notified when he is in your area hosting a meetup. Follow him on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at David Meltzer. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Totally Well Show. Hello everyone, welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is a place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, and all the things it takes to help you live the highest quality, most fulfilling life. Just want to remind you folks that the Totally Well Show is looking for sponsorships here at the Groton Channel. We'd also love to have sponsors for all of our shows. It's a great opportunity for you to let us know about your business, if you're local or even if you're a national brand. We'd love to have you participate. So reach out to thegrotonchannel.org or to me and we'll tell you all the different ways you can provide sponsorship and get in partnership with us. Today I have a return guest, Alan Lazarus. Hi, Alan.
So thankful to be here. Thank you.
Thankful to have you. Alan is from the Hyper Conscious podcast and has a newly minted Hyper Conscious Nation Facebook group, which we hope that you'll join and learn lots of secret things that you won't see anywhere else. So with that, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I wanted to talk with you today about something we have in common, coaching.
Yes.
And we've both been coached. We are both coaches. And we both hang out with coaches. It's kind of our team. So can you talk to me a little bit of your thoughts on what coaching is for you?
So I think all of us work in our life, but not everyone works on their life. And I think that like right now, for example, we're on the field and we're in process. I think if you want to really maximize your ability to succeed in whatever arena you're in, you're going to need someone who has an outside perspective. There's the very simple phrase that a lot of people say, which is you can't see the whole picture when you're in the frame. I got off of a business coaching call with my Aunt Joanne yesterday, and she said something to me that I never would have found out myself. She said that you're like 95% there, but a little bit more authenticity and vulnerability would really go a long way. So having someone else who cares about you, who has your best interest at heart, and who has a higher level of awareness in the arena you want to succeed in is everything.
Are you okay with me asking you more questions about what you just said?
Of course.
Because this becomes personal now about you.
Totally.
I'm intrigued by what your aunt/mentor, coach said.
Okay.
Can you repeat again that sentence?
Yeah, so my aunt basically said that you're 95% of the way there, but a little bit more authenticity and vulnerability would be beneficial to you.
So what does authenticity and vulnerability mean for you?
So I think being fully present and vulnerability is sitting in the discomfort of being okay with being judged for the truth. Whatever is actually true for you rather than putting on some front. Mm-hmm. I think the masculine energy has a desire to impress rather than to express. And that's something that I'm always trying to balance.
Mm-hmm. Why? Why do you think that is?
It's funny because on the call yesterday, she articulated a meme that she saw that I think really, really does a good job of helping us all understand the masculine and feminine energy. There was a group of, basically it's a meme where there's a picture of a group of boys, and one of them is saying, my dad's as big as a truck, and the other one's saying, well, my dad's as big as the moon, and then another one's like, well, my dad's as big as the sun, right? Just a competition. which is necessary and part of the masculine energy. Boys do that. And I remember telling, when I was like 6, I think, I remember saying that my stepdad can lift a backhoe. And that's what boys do. They want to compete. They want to be the best, quote unquote, right? And this is not general to boys. I mean, we all have both, but the masculine energy tends to be boys. Then you've got a group of girls who were talking about basically their braces. And one of them said, my mom had braces. And the other one said, well, my mom had green braces. And then the other one said, my mom also had green braces. And they're like collaborating. So I see this spectrum where on one side, the masculine energy, and we all have both, again, is competition. How to be the best, how to impress, how to really find your unique version of significance by being excellence-driven. And then on the other side, you have collaboration, teamwork, warmth, love, authenticity, connection. And I think that we all need both skill sets to really win. And honestly, I think the feminine energy is a much stronger leader in the 21st century because a lot of the top-down structures that we used to live in are going away. Like now, collaboration is everything. That's what this is right now.
Right.
Interpersonal relationships is everything. And I think some people are really good at this other side of competition, but if you're always, for example, right now I'm on a team of people where there's a lot of guys and there's only 2 women, and there's some egos in the room that cause a conflict with collaborating because we're not competing with each other, we're trying to reach a mutual goal. And again, we all have both qualities within us, but I'm really trying to develop the collaboration piece and the authenticity.
So when you were being coached and your coach said this to you, that you're 95% there and looking for authenticity, I'm taking you back to the initial question.
Right.
So authenticity and vulnerability. And then when I asked for explanation, you took me to a very safe place of educating me.
Right.
So I'm seeing something missing in between.
Okay. I see myself as an educator, so I'm always trying to help people get educated.
But what did the coach suggest for you?
That was it. That was what she suggested. She said, be more vulnerable, be more authentic, express yourself more fully and honestly. Yeah.
So in that vein, I'm looking for an example, I guess, of what it felt like at the moment when you heard that for you from the coach, or maybe even an example of where you were coached into more authenticity or vulnerability.
How did it feel when she said that?
Yeah.
It hurt at first.
Yeah.
I think we all tend to avoid the feedback because when you're trying to accomplish something great and serve, it shines a spotlight on your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I think authenticity is something that I need to work on. So it was difficult to hear. And I think that's one of the main facets of coaching is giving your coach permission to tell you the truth from their perspective, knowing that they're saying it because they want to help you improve.
Yeah, even though they sense that it may be a tender spot for you.
Exactly.
Did you have any sense as you were hearing those words of what authenticity at that moment would be or vulnerability would be?
Yeah, I think being okay with not having to be perfect. That's what came through me.
Yeah.
Right.
I almost saw this as a grade that she gave you a 95 and that wasn't good enough.
Well, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. I think I'll never stop improving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just get this very heavy sense of how challenging it is to be, once you get that feedback, to really go there.
Yeah. I haven't, again, this was yesterday,
Yeah.
so it hasn't fully landed for me yet.
Yeah.
But I came into today
Yeah.
saying, Alan, come in with humility and a desire to serve.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have anything prepared. You just have to come in and be yourself, because yourself is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And wanting to grow, wanting to, help others grow in what you do as a coach, and also recognizing that being coached is part of being able to be a good coach.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that true?
You got to eat your own cooking.
Yeah.
So I have...
You have so many great expressions. I got to write them all down, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have, as you know, David Meltzer coaches us.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have a call with him tomorrow. But my Aunt Joanne coaches me. I have several mentors and coaches. I also used to have a coach named Alex Goad who just took brutal honesty to a whole new level, but it was wonderful. I grew more in that month than I had in a long time, because one of the things about coaching, if you can, and I said this to my aunt yesterday, I said, I know that you have a strong pulse on who I am and who I'm aspiring to be.
Yeah. And
I know that you have core competencies that I don't as a leader, because she's much farther along in collaborative efforts in her business and philanthropy and all that.
Yeah.
So I said, from your perspective, don't ever hesitate to reach out and give me constructive feedback, because I don't want you to be afraid that you're going to hurt my feelings. Because I said, Joanne, you know me. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what's in my heart, and feedback is only going to help.
Yeah.
So give your coaches permission to tell you the truth. And even if the truth is a little bit harsh, maybe harsh is the wrong word, but like sometimes you have to say something. Kevin does this for me. Like, for example, when I was at the Confident Women's Consortium, he had his speech done 2 weeks in advance. I didn't finish my speech until 5 minutes prior. So most people thought I was wonderful and my speech was wonderful, and I appreciate that, but Kevin knows my real potential. Yeah. And he knows that I really dropped the ball in a lot of ways on that. And I still think it went well, and I still think we added massive value to that whole room. But did I do my best? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Could I have done better? Of course. And Kevin gave that to me real, with love.
Yeah.
That's what a good coach is, I think.
And speaking of being a good coach, as a coach, sometimes it's really hard to be on that side of it, right? You know this as well, that as you were speaking, I was like, the hardest part of me telling you the truth isn't my fear of hurting your feelings, it's my fear of hurting my feelings.
Right.
I'm a little intimidated to tell you the truth of what I see.
Okay.
Did you ever
me
feel
personally, or in general in coaching?
In general in coaching, right. But you personally too. Like, there's some things that I would say because that I'm looking for the right words to say as a coach, because I don't want to hurt your feelings. But when I really dig deeper, I think I'm afraid of his reaction, that he's going to think less of me. Like, it kind of backfires on me, or boomerangs. Yeah.
Interesting. I think that's you and Kevin's end of Drive to 5. I don't feel that.
When you coach,
my only fear is hurting feelings.
Yeah.
I want to help, not hurt, but sometimes the truth will inherently hurt.
Right.
So I think you have to know. You'll feel if the coach's intentions are pure, but no, when it comes to like me being afraid of what you just described, I don't feel like I have a lot of that fear. Maybe somewhere, but
it's just an uncomfortable feeling to be. To see somebody uncomfortable and know,
right.
That to me that's uncomfortable too. So,
well, you just did it with me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm digging. But,
it's good. You dig when you dig, and you uncover some stuff that person and you maybe never thought of, or that's where all the growth is. It's underneath. You got to dig, and when you dig, it gets messy.
Yeah.
And when it gets messy, people get hurt. But what lands?
Yeah.
I always call it shaking the snow globe. You know that?
Yeah.
What lands is going to be more the truth. And you can't make good decisions based on anything but the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what I find oftentimes people they come to me for help, like say, I want to lose weight, or I want to get in shape, or I want to get rid of this condition, whatever it's, autoimmune condition or something. But they're not expecting to work.
Oh, yes.
They're not, yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the coaching process that you experience of from meeting with somebody, say you have a phone call with them, or I'm not sure how you meet, Zoom or FaceTime or
FaceTime audio if they have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So or in person, however you do. But what's involved in that process?
That's a great question. I think one of the greatest things about coaching is that it's specific to the individual. Whereas anyone who watches this interview is going to get massive value, I believe, but it's not specifically catered to them. Whereas when I'm on the phone with someone out of the gate, you can I'm always trying to gauge, first of all, how much can this person handle? What does this person really want versus what they say they want? So people come to me for fitness coaching because they want to look better, but what they really need is self-discipline, right? So you can want to look better all day, but what do you actually need to make that happen? So if you want to change the fruit, you got to change the root. So I'm always looking for what is the root cause of why they aren't where they want to be. What is the root cause of even why they want to be there? Like, why does someone want to look better? Because they want to feel more confident. So what they actually need is the confidence, because what's fascinating about that is if you were confident, you would take more consistent action and you would look better. So you think, I need to look better to be more confident, but that's the conundrum, because in order to take action, you have to be confident. And in order to be fit, which is what you think will make you confident, you have to take action. So to answer your original question, you're always trying to understand, if this person is motivated, great, I can be a little harder on them and get them to take action. If not, why aren't they motivated? And then how do I instill that burning desire within them based on their core motivations, which is always different for everybody.
That's brilliant. And it's what I see as a coach is people come in and they want to look like you and they want you to give them a workout. Like, that's going to fix it. I'm like, you could have looked this up on YouTube, you know. You don't need me to tell you how many meals to eat and that this is junk food and this isn't. You know, that information's out there and so available.
Totally.
So so the fact that you hear, you take in. So stage one is just listen to the problem and really try to get to know the person. It's huge.
Huge. It's everything.
Yeah.
Asking the right questions and getting them to open up.
Yeah.
Always stage one. Yeah.
And then, and stage two and stage three, all the way through asking questions. So much less, although you have a lot of expertise, I can imagine you putting on this hat and saying, okay, now that we're here and you're at the gym, I'm going to help you with this specific technique. But back to how did you say it? The
core motivation
for the root?
Yeah, back to the root cause.
Yeah.
So if you don't know the root cause of why something is the way it is, you have no power to change it.
Yeah.
And that's what the Hyperconscious podcast is about, raising your awareness of why things are the way they are so that now you can shift it.
And it speaks to that thing I always hear people say, I know what to do, I just don't do it.
Right. But yeah, so...
They have rotten roots.
Yeah, exactly. So they also haven't developed the habits of success. So... I don't know how deep you want me to go into this, but I remember showing you the iceberg slide at the Confident Women's Conundrum. So we think, picture an iceberg.
Confident Women Consortium.
Confident Women, sorry. What did I say? Confident
Conundrum.
Women? Oh, I said that. Confident Women Conundrum. No, Confident Women Consortium.
We'll have to have a show on that. That's awesome.
This is me practicing being imperfect. So at the tip of an iceberg, that's what we all can see. So that's the physique that you see in front of you. That's only the physical. So that's not showing you the mental, emotional, and spiritual underneath that iceberg that made all of this possible. So I gave a speech on conscious leadership 3 weeks ago, I think, to a group of high school athletes. And we're in New England, and I have a slide that shows Tom Brady with the trophy. Yeah, for his 6th Super Bowl win. And I said, who in here loves Tom Brady? Every hand shot up. Right, exactly. I love Tom Brady too. Next slide. Tom Brady's book, and it's a screenshot, and it says, How to Sustain a Lifetime of Peak Performance, the TB12 Method. So first I said, in the previous slide, how many people here love Tom Brady? Every hand shot up. Next slide, how many people have read Tom Brady's book? Not a single hand goes up. Now, this is hardcore, but basically what I said is, I love Tom Brady too, but you and I love him for different reasons. How to sustain a lifetime of peak performance. Aren't you curious? Because I am.
Yeah.
And I want you to love Tom Brady's habits, more than you love Tom Brady. And if I could really instill that into people, because we're only looking at the fruit. We see the 30 seconds of him holding the trophy, not the 30 years of adversity that it took to get there. And to me, that's everything.
Yeah. All those little habits that go on.
And all his coaches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he'd be the first to tell you, I'd never be where I am without my coaches. But yet all of us are going through life like, I don't need a coach.
Yeah. Doesn't
make any sense to me. But
yeah. Is that recorded? Did you record that speach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
It's in the Hyperconscious Nation.
All right. I haven't seen it for some reason. I missed it. I know about it because I know the backstory, and the teacher who pulled you in for this. And
you know him?
I don't know him, but I know what he said about you, and it brought tears to my eyes. How he mentioned something about your being that kid that was afraid to stand up in front and speak, and here to see your growth. And
it's amazing the impact people have on us.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's one of the tools too coaches can help you to do. It's just, and I try to pick apart what's involved in coaching, since that's what we're talking about today. Is looking back at your accomplishments sometimes when you're feeling struggle with the growth, to be able to look back and say, wow, I've come so far. Well, you did it in your episode recently with looking back to episode 1, you and Kevin, and you're like giggling like little girls about it.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And I mean, I think your first one was great, was awesome. But
Thank
you. Just to see the growth, I definitely see the improvement in the growth and the maturity. And
it's such a trip to be able to go back.
Yeah.
And just for reference, so Kevin put the audio of the first episode while we were live, and you could hear us now versus then.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
So
it was
the
very
change
fun.
is so drastic. But yeah, the growing pains. There is no growth without some growing pains, in my opinion.
Yeah. So again, back to the coaching and how we can help people understand maybe a little bit about, in this I mentioned earlier, the contrast between coaching and teaching. So a lot of people call themselves coaches,
Right.
and they're really more educators or informers, or
Right.
I think of coaching more as a guide, Yoda, kind of helping people to believe in themselves and think for themselves with support.
Right.
I see that skill set in you, that you're able to do that. You've done it with me on mastermind calls.
Oh.
I've seen you do it with other people, where you ask, you're not so quick to say, here's what you need to do. I mean, there are times when that's appropriate, but you also have that ability to coach. I'm not sure how you acquired it, but maybe by being coached. But I'd love to hear your take on that difference so that our viewers can understand.
Yeah, I think the best way to articulate what you just described is, if I tell you what to do, you can argue it. But if you tell you what to do, there's no arguing it.
Mm-hmm.
So asking the right questions, so I'll give you an example. So I always ask this question, feel free to use it if you want, obviously. Anchors and engines. Mm-hmm. So to me, one of the greatest challenges we have is the person's, places, things, and ideas that are not good for us, and then the person's, places, things, and ideas that are. Mm-hmm. Anchors and engines. So one of the questions I ask is very simple, and this is the hard one. People don't like this question because it's so uncomfortable and it's very challenging to answer. Who in your life right now, in terms of a person, is the biggest anchor?
So meaning holding you back?
Yes. Holding you back from your greatest level of contribution, your greatest potential, your greatest growth. Mm-hmm. That's a hard question to answer, because once you answer it, now you have to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And we're afraid to lose people we love, even though we know maybe they're not what's best for us in the long run. Mm-hmm. And I do that same question with persons, places, things, and ideas. So what's the biggest idea in your life right now that is holding you back? So for example, that could be a belief. Mm-hmm. The fact that I believe on some level that being successful will be lonely, that's holding me back. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm aware of it, I can start to shift it and say, I can do an affirmation. Success will make me more in love, not less, right? And I can train my subconscious to actually think that way so that I stop pumping the brakes every time I'm getting successful.
Interesting stuff. You say that all the time. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I guess taking that tool and just understanding that the person who you're working with, to whom you're asking these questions, is the one who's going to solve the problem. Then.
Totally.
They're not broken.
Yes.
They need help navigating.
Right. Eagles with broken wings.
Eagles with
They're
broken
not
wings.
broken. They just need a little bit of help to fly again.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit of healing and TLC and some good coaching tools to help us to view things from a different perspective.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's what a coach can do. Give you a bird's eye view of your life, so that you can work on it instead of in it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm always trying to do. But when it comes to the healing piece, I always think mental, emotional, spiritual, because that's underneath the physical that we all see. So where is the bottleneck? That's always my question going in. So before every call, strategy session, I always say, Alan, no matter what you're going through right now, it's not about you, go serve. I get on the call and then I ask the right questions to see how they are. I have them rate their life on a continuum, 0 to 10, figure out where they're at. A lot of times they'll say 6, 7, sometimes 3 if they're in a dark place. And then I say, okay, what do you believe at this moment will get you closer to a 10? And then you just let them go. And then you start to realize really quickly what the bottlenecks are. So sometimes the bottleneck is a mental strategy. In other words, they don't have the awareness they need in business or in fitness to win. Right? So for example, let's say they're going to the gym every single day, but they're getting no results. That's a strategy problem. You're doing the thing, but you're doing the wrong things. That's when I educate knowledge. Now, what if it's an emotional thing? If they're in an emotional dark place, that's a different bottleneck. We have to figure out what is the source of the hurt and then work on that. And then the faith part, the spiritual part, to me is a lack of belief. That's the biggest one, especially with certain clients I have. So, for example, I have one client. She's a behavior analyst. She's unbelievably intelligent.
I'm going to interrupt you here, just because this could be a longer story and we're about out of time.
Oh, okay. All right, no worries.
So we'll save that, and I have a question.
Okay.
Will you come on my show again?
Yes, absolutely.
And I have one comment to make about you that was sort of like, wow, just observing, is that you're a master collaborator. Coaching is about a collaboration and a team effort, and you're a master at this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I have a lot to learn in the leadership department when it comes to...
You have the skill.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.